All right, my friends, welcome back. It's been a quiet couple of days. That's going to change. That's why we're on here. And for a change of pace, instead of talking about severe winter weather, we're just going to talk about severe weather. And we're talking about spring-like thunderstorms coming a little bit early this year. So as we go from the depths of winter, expect that possibility of damaging hail, damaging winds, and a few stronger tornadoes will be a possibility later tonight and into the day tomorrow for parts of the southern plains and Dixie. Let's get into this right now. Things are actually relatively quiet outside. That's going to change. Here's a look at our radar imagery showing you really not a lot going on. We've got a few showers up here across portions of the upper Midwest, some snow showers exiting parts of northern New York, all this well in advance of the main storm. However, the main storm is there. Got to kind of look for it. There's this upper low. You can see that counterclockwise swirl to the atmosphere. And with that, it's going to pull out into the plains here later on tonight. Going to cause some problems. In fact, already the Storm Prediction Center has issued risk areas in that yellow area. That's that slight risk of severe weather you're used to seeing in the spring, sometimes in the summertime. It does include areas like Abilene, Texas, my old stomping ground, Wichita. Spent some time there as well. And then down here for Oklahoma City, north of Dallas, Wichita Falls, that is an enhanced risk of severe weather. That's where going to be the highest tornado threat here during the overnight period tonight. Storm should initiate here rather shortly in the next hour or two. Now into the day tomorrow, starting at 7 a.m. Central Time, all this moves into the south central U.S., much of the lower Mississippi River Valley, Dixie, the northern Gulf Coast, that most threatening area. That's that enhanced risk that you see from Mobile to Jackson to Shreveport. That's where you're going to have the higher tornado risk tomorrow, and that enhanced. And then beyond that, we do have a rather broad slight risk of severe weather. It does include areas just to the west of Atlanta. It does include Memphis, Tennessee, Dallas, and New Orleans as well. So let's take a look underneath this. So this is the actual categorical outlook for the day tomorrow. But as far as the probability of wind, is significant, a 30% area of wind here, which does mean that there's going to be some damaging high winds in some locations. But we're talking about generally 60 to 70 mile per hour winds more likely. And then the hail threats there, it's only 5%. It's pretty small from Kansas City to Dallas to Houston to New Orleans, not a huge deal. The tornado risk is a little bit more substantial. That is a 10% risk that you see there for Shreveport, for Jackson, for Mobile. And if you look beyond that 10%, what about the chances of a significant tornado? That's a tornado of EF3 or higher. And that's where this hatched area comes into play, where they've got identified near Shreveport, Monroe, Alexandria, Baton Rouge, Jackson, Hattiesburg, Mobile, and Meridian. So actually quite a few players involved with this. But that's what's going to be coming into play here during the overnight period tonight into the day tomorrow. Now, we're going to take you through the model data. I'm going to share my thoughts on what will likely limit the tornado potential. Now, all the data hasn't come in yet, and until we watch this event unfold, there's going to be some uncertainty, but I believe we've got some things that are working in our favor. This is a powerful storm. I don't want to downplay that part of this story. It is a big, big storm. You can see it spinning very evidently here on the satellite perspective there. Taking a look at the jet stream winds, what's causing this is a vigorous upper-level low-pressure system that's defined by cold air aloft. Lots of wind energy with that as well. This is going to be ejecting out into the plains here during the overnight period tonight. And with that being said, that's going to give us that possibility of some very active thunderstorms. Let's get into the model data, showing you those jet stream winds first. This is the European forecast model, and it's done a great job with the system. Identified it about a week ago as a potential threat. Shows these upper level winds ejecting later on tonight. And look at that tremendous spread. And I say spread, I'm talking about the air coming out of the Rockies, and then it's diverging. It's going north, it's going east, it's going south. Mass divergence aloft. And that's a recipe for rising air and for low pressure. And so we're going to watch those pressure falls quite dramatic into the day tomorrow at the surface as this storm really gets cranking very quickly. That upper low moves right over the Great Lakes. We would say a neutral tilt, which is a good thing. Look, for a minute, this thing may go more of a negative tilt, which is more times associated with a more severe outbreak. This looks mainly neutral. And then it does bring some wind and some problems to the southeast for the day on Wednesday. So it's really tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday, kind of a 2-day deal. Here's a look at the broad perspective as we've shown you already in previous updates. I just want to mention the northern end of this. We'll see significant snowfall. Some backside snow as far south as like Kansas City will be heavy for a period, but some heavier snows for portions of Iowa, southern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, into the UP of Michigan before that storm makes an exit. Now that's the kind of the macro version. Let's get into the kind of the micro version, and this is the initiation of thunderstorms overnight tonight via the 3K NAM. So let me run this through where we do have initiation here within the next couple of hours. Looks like showers and storms expected to take off by around, let's see, we're 4 or 5 hours back. So it looks at around 10 till 11 o'clock this evening. We're going to see those thunderstorms developing across portions of south central Kansas into western Oklahoma. So this is where it's going to originate. These will be capable of some hail and some damaging winds initially. And then these will rapidly evolve into a pretty broad squall line, it looks like, during the overnight tonight. It's trying to make that in 2 different pieces. Let's jump down to the Dallas metro area here, because this is morning tomorrow about 7 a.m. So a closer up look at the area there in Texas, these storms getting going. Again, a nasty looking squall line. Now, the question is, can we see some of this activity out ahead of it become discrete? It'll tend to rotate if it does, and could bring with it a tornado threat. But right now we're seeing not a lot of much of what we call a cap. Not a lot to prevent showers from developing ahead of the main line and ahead of the main forcing, which actually could help to keep the atmosphere relatively stable. So this is 7 a.m. tomorrow. Dallas-Fort Worth is getting heavy rain, thunderstorms, some hail, some gusty winds, a small tornado threat with that in the morning there tomorrow. And then that squall line begins to move to the east, where it will strengthen with daytime heating. And so this is where the main threat is going to be as it enters portions of Louisiana, far southern portions of Arkansas, severe, but I think that tornado threat's going to be further to your south. And again, just like we saw in Texas, you're going to have a lot of activity that fires up ahead of the main band. So here's the main band, main forcing, the stuff that fires up out ahead of it. We'll do one of 2 things. If you get one of these, some of these cells that come together and form one dominant kind of supercell out ahead of it, that could cause some problems, but it's not looking like that will likely be the case. It's looking like we have not enough cap, too much low-level instability. It's going to cause these things to shower, and they're going to shower, and that's actually going to prevent it from getting more stable. You need more sunshine to get that instability, and I just don't think we're going to see that. It looks like we're going to see thunderstorms, yes. We're going to see showers, yes. Wind, hail, isolated tornadoes, but as of right now, with the data that I'm seeing, this is great news. It does not look like it's going to be a mega outbreak across the south. Let's take a look at the limiting factor. I've got this for you here. This is CAPE. It's convective available potential energy. Now, what this storm does have, before I jump over to CAPE, is that it's got a lot of wind energy. So this is a turning of the wind in the lowest 1 kilometer of the atmosphere. There's a ton of wind that comes through with the system. See all the bright colors there indicating winds, and they're turning with height. A ton of wind. This is 0 to 3 kilometer helicity. A lot of wind energy. That's all you need to know here. But when it comes to CAPE, which is the amount of instability in the atmosphere, there's just not going to be a ton. We're going to see an area where we have CAPE in the order, generally speaking, of 500 to 1,000 units. And generally speaking, yes, that can form a tornado. It just won't be that strong. So I think this is good. I think this is very good news, and it's going to help to limit that, again, that tornado threat. These storms, they're going to rip from west to east, so we'll pick it up this is midday tomorrow at about noon or 1 o'clock, making that main squall line moving through south central Arkansas, northwestern portions of Louisiana, and then it's just going to absolutely race. By 4 o'clock, it's moving into Mississippi, crossing the Mississippi River, and then by 7 or 8 o'clock, it's already moving its way into portions of Alabama, and then portions further to the east, which we will also investigate. All right, so this will be during the overnight period tomorrow night. Generally speaking, although that severe threat remains, that is a slight risk of severe weather for portions of the Carolinas, Virginias, and Georgia. For Wednesday, largely, we're looking at, again, pretty linear stuff. Now, there was something that popped out in the data that I wanted to share with you. And let me pull that up. And this is the significant tornado parameter. So I'm going to push that back. It does peak tonight, and then it flares up very early tomorrow. You see where those higher numbers are across Louisiana. And it kind of goes away as we head on into tomorrow night. But Wednesday during the day, you have another little flare up there. And could you get a few weak tornadoes out here in the Piedmont? Out here on the Carolina Delta? It's a possibility, but weak. So I guess the big story is that overall, I think we're probably going to survive this first round of severe weather, but we still need to watch this puppy, as all it takes is maybe an hour or two of sunshine tomorrow where it's not anticipated could create some big-time problems. But with that being said, we'll continue to monitor the situation. Severe weather expected to develop here during the overnight period tonight. Parts of the southern plains, look out for Dixie and the south tomorrow under the gun. Again, I think it's damaging winds. I think we will have maybe a little bit of hail and a few tornadoes, but right now that tornado threat looks quite limited. We'll keep our prayers going tonight that stays the case into the day tomorrow. Thank you for being here. If you got something out of the video, I encourage you to like, to share the video, and be sure to hit the notification bell so you'll know next time we're on. You guys be good out there, stay safe, and stay tuned. Stay blessed, my friends. We'll talk to you soon.